Hi you guys, this is Allison hanging out in my space to craft. I just finished a page with my daughter having a little tea party in our backyard, and these are the scraps I had left. A couple of little strips. I've cut those, some of these were already very thin. A few of the others I cut in half. I think this one and this one. I just cut those in half. Not quite half, uneven half. I have a card, and this is actually, I did cut it down. It's 5, I thought I did it to 5 by 5, but I didn't. I did it to 5 by almost 5. So not quite 5 by 5. And I have this card, which I cut to 4 by 4, and that will fit just in the middle like that. So what I think I'm going to do is rough up the edges of these and put them down in their stripes. And this was a tea party paper. There's actually a little teacup on one of these pieces of paper. I have this old tea set from, it's called A Nice Cuppa from Stampin' Up. There's World's Best Mother. There's Always Time for Tea on a stamp. I think I'm just going to use the You Are Tea-rific sentiment on here. And this stamp teacup. It also comes with a die. So I could, and a little embellishment for the die as well. So, and a little thing for a tea bag. So I think I'll make use of those as well. But first step, I'm going to scuff these up just to give it some dimension and put them on here. I did also think about sewing on them. I don't know if I'm brave enough to start sewing on things yet, but I may end up, I was thinking about doing stitching, but I don't know that I don't want to stitch in brown. Maybe I'll stitch in white. I have a white gel pen, so I may do some little testing to see if I like maybe some white stitching on this. Because if I were to sew it, I would sew using white, I think. So, all right, well, I've sped the rest of this up. I'm using my distress tool. It's an old Creative Memories distress tool, but it's similar to the Tim Holtz one with multiple access points for the blade. So it does make it pretty easy, and it's comfortable to hold for doing distress work. Now, this little thin one, it was about 1/4 of an inch. It gave me, I couldn't hold it, and it's such thin paper. I had a hard time distressing it, but I finally got it done. So I'm just distressing each one, and I just sort of tried to randomize them. Of course, not truly random. But making sure I didn't have the same colors next to each other or really the same width of paper strips either. So it's a little bit of a quilted look, but not quite. I was worried that if I started quilting that I might not have enough paper to cover what I wanted to do. So I do this, and then I realize that I have another one to do that I forgot. So I do just use I don't use glue at this point. I was worried that I might have to move or adjust some of them. And it does end up very slightly crooked, which I'm not sure how, but it's okay. It doesn't really notice. So this total card took me about 50 minutes because I just did it in one video, and I've tried to cut out all of the blank where I was off at my die cutting machine and stuff like that. So I did spend some time on it. Some of it was a little, like some of the stamping I wasn't pleased with. You're going to see that in just a minute. I cut out most of that from this video. The color wasn't right. It didn't look good. So I ended up just using the die cuts instead of the stamp. There is a little bit more stamping toward the end though. So I do decide to distress the side edges just a bit. And then I also decide I want another mat behind this. So I'm looking for the right color of yellow. They're all pretty close, but I have to find one that's the right size and the right color. And this one is just a little bit lighter than that other scrap that I had, so I like it better. And I'm just going to cut it a 1/4 inch larger than the 4x4. So 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and that gives me just a little bit of a border. And so that's a real cute base for a card. I don't make square cards very often, but it's pretty cute. So I pull out some more of the stamps. Here's where I think I'm going to use that. I think this pink might work. It doesn't work at all. It's way too vibrant a pink. And I think that's and the stamp had a weird bubble. I just couldn't get it to stamp clean. You can see it's a little spotty. So I give up on this and I move on. And I pull out this pink shimmer paper, and I'm going to use the die cut to create the teacup. And then, excuse me. And then a little scrap of blue for the little decorations on the teacup. So just getting those adhered down, just so it's not quite so plain Jane. So I do end up making quite a few little components to add to this page. So next is the little tea bag. So I stamp that tea bag and then I color in the little square on it just because it had a little square. Here I'm looking at this heart to see, do I like it? No, I don't. It's still not going to work. Rather than using the die, I just hand cut the tea bag. It's real easy to cut. And I am going to play with that in a little while to sort of slice the little hole. There's a little line on there. I'm going to slice a little hole and to create the tea bag string. All right. I take a piece of the yellow scrap paper, and there's a lemon slice that comes with this, and so I pull out a yellow Distress Oxide, Oh no, Distress ink. Those are inks, not oxides. And I'll just fussy cut that little lemon slice out. And I'm going to set that by the cup. And then the last thing I think I need to stamp is the little sentiment that says "You are terrific." And I end up doing it on a little tag that I had in another die set. Oh, I also cut, it had a little sort of steamy heart, and I found a piece of vellum and cut that out of a piece of vellum. So that was a very quick going off to the die cutting machine. And so I went and cut this little tag. I had a die for that. And then that's where the sentiment's going to be. It's very small, but I wanted it to, and it's just going to sit down in that corner. So now I'm ready to assemble everything and do some of those finishing touches. So the teacup is going to go flat on the page, and then some of the other items are going to stick up. So I have this baker's twine. It's white and yellow, and I actually pull out a single string of the yellow. I start to try and do it with the wound, and it's just going to be too big. So I pull out one tiny little yellow string, get my new craft knife. That's a We Are Memory Keepers, or We Are. And just cut the little slice and then pull that string through. And I think that having that, instead of drawing it, having the actual string just gives it a nice touch. And then I just glue it down. So it's sticking through there. Just add a touch of glue so that it's stable. And then tuck it into behind the cup. And I went to find some little washi tape. So that's ready to go down. I was going to put it at an angle, and I decided not to. Some of the other items will go at slight angles. There's the little steam out of vellum. So there's quite a few components on this page, but I was pretty pleased with it. So here I use the full baker's twine. And tied it in a bow because I thought that fit. And stuck that down. Did a little inking on it, help everything stand out a bit. So just finishing this up, adding a little glue where I think it might need it. So come back for more videos. I post every day either a card or a layout process, occasionally a haul video or other crafty projects. So cute little card from scraps, and thanks for watching.